Did y'all hear what I just said? It's physically impossible for you to work on something that you subconsciously believe won't work. That's why belief is more important than ability. Like, belief is more important than knowledge. It's interesting. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. People think, well, as soon as I know how, I'll do it. No, as soon as you believe you can do it, you'll figure out how. Did y'all hear what I just said?
Work ethic got it from my father. Or you can ask Ruby. Knocked out on my life, but I keep moving.
What's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to the Y.O.D podcast with the one and only tough is good, smart is better, are you coachable, choose to succeed, and then
Y.O.D, Y.O.D, Y.O.D. I'm the young old dude with the new ology. Leader of the new school, old mentality. Got the loose Twitter fingers. You following me? Yeah. Over your head, got too much knowledge. Graduated in games, season no salting. Outlast today, don't need no nostalgic. I'm over 38, performing like a freshman in college. I'm the youngest old dude you know. Motive with life change, effortless with the flow. Atta boy, oh, you ain't know? This man against time, and this time just had to go. Let me vest 20 pounds of haters and run some more. Steadily getting the lap, I stride around goals. Lost it, I'm found it and winning. How I catch a bunch of L's, I quarterback the beginning. Yelling Y.O.D. Yeah, I'm a young old dude. Learn the rules like a pro, taking students to school. Y.O.D. Up in the gym, dropping mad jewels. Still hungry, stay seasoned, play mad fool. Y.O.D. Stay on my grind, it's that mastermind. Like wine, I get better with time. Y.O.D. Oh, you ain't heard about me. Got everybody in the city saying Y.O.D.
thanks for tuning in to the Y.O.D podcast. Be sure to click follow, subscribe, and share at the Y.O.D podcast. Visit us online at www.theyodpodcast.com. The Y.O.D podcast with the one and only Ajan Rubin. That moment, that opportunity where you just can't help but get it off your chest. You know, that burning desire to say what's on your mind. And right now, it's that time for Ajan Rubin to get it off his chest.
Well, I'd love to see, and it's a mantra now, I'd love to see people be genuine. That's you know, excuse me, there's a strong, rough, rigid part to me, but there's a powerful, sentimental undercurrent base to me. And I mean, I can turn on the a-hole switch when necessary. I can go straight warrior mind and be willing to, you know, lose my life in the process to take somebody else's, and if there's a mission, and I ain't gonna think nothing about it. And then how you switch from that to being sentimental, it's just, I don't know. Meaning that I just care, and things do matter. I just really, really wish that more would do that, because just in general, it's funny, I was thinking, and we all see this change that's going on in this world, and we've been discussing bits and pieces of this for what, 3-4 years now? It's been a while. And it's almost like it's a bit of a prophetic thing, and it's this craziness is just playing out. And I've been saying, it's like, okay, when the bow gonna break? How far is this shit gonna go? It's not a game. It's not a joke. You know, being disingenuous and the lies, and you know, you can't pay bills on air. No company is going to accept air. You need currency. So something just has to be real and something has to give. And I just hope that, hell, not just a nation now, but as a world, we get our head out of our ass before it's too late. Like it. And it ain't something I want to beat up because I've been saying this. I done talked on this. I done talked on this and talked on this. And like, I don't know. I'll never be one to give up, but others, it's time to, get the poop out of your head.
No, I feel there's a constant echo of what you're saying with people not only around your age, but people born in the 80s, born in the 70s, adults in general. It's just, it's a constant theme, a constant echo. And like you said, sometimes it feels prophetic because sometimes you'll talk about something, you even think in depth about something, and you turn on YouTube and it's like, what the hell? I just talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
But either your phone is listening to you or everybody's in the same mind state.
Shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on. But in the end, only three things matter. How much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. Buddha.
Damn.
How can we practice, in your opinion, how can we practice love, detachment, and acceptance in our relationships and everyday life?
Ooh. Well, everything has to start with the central self, personal integrity. Again, this is something I don't know how we got on it, but we've gotten on it too. There's no way to do any of that without your personal feet on the ground first. It's almost like, how can you love someone if you don't love yourself? Not a selfish thing, but it's like a dignified respect for oneself. And I think that when you can see that, it's like seeing the humaneness in yourself. Well, when you do that, it's easy to see it in others too. Until you can do that, it's just, I think that's where sociopath comes into play. They don't see people that way. They see people as a piece of lint, just a doorstep, just something like an object to use. Period. There's zero damn connection whatsoever. That's just very weird, but that's the truth, though. So I mean, that's to the extreme, but at least that kind of helps clarify the thought process. Me explaining, the question you asked. And so, on the one hand, you can see clearly. On the other hand, there's no vision whatsoever. And then being fulfilled with it, and like you say, the not overly attached part, learning over time what to hold on to and what to let go of. That balance is so hard. And it's like life is a sliding rule, so to speak. A little bit here, a little bit more here, faster here, slower here. Man, it depends on where you are in your life and what you're doing. Did you grow? Have you matured? Are you in a down slump? Are you in an upswing? Man, there's so many moving parts with that. It's not that ain't simple. It's not black and white. But in general, though, it's how you're setting. But growth is that's the undercurrent. If you're not growing, you can't do it. If you're growing, you can do it. And the majority of Buddha's teaching was along that line. The constant is change. And from the change is growth if you're smart. There's no sitting still. It's not possible to sit still.
Indeed. Can you share a personal experience maybe on one of the three, love, detachment, acceptance, or even letting go, that you experienced in your own life, or even maybe had to put to practice for the benefit again of loving yourself?
It's, man, I got like tons of those. It could be whether it was martial art, it could be the connection I had with the Marine Corps, and then passionately love being a goddamn Marine. I'm still gung-ho to this day, but I had to walk away from that, though. I had to, meaning that I loved it, but it didn't necessarily love me. It's a machine, and it uses individuals like me to better its mission. And it's crazy how when I was in, I mean, there were many other jobs that wanted me because my scores were so high. I could do anything. Mine would not let me go. And life is kind of interesting because had I gotten those other jobs I wanted, I would have excelled, of course, but I wouldn't have achieved all these things I've done off to the side, though. And I've done phenomenal considering just leaving and walking away and just building my thing and moving on. So, fate has and destiny has its play in life too. But it doesn't change the fact that, I mean, man, I was I was a Marine. Just fuck. Even my high school counselor, Miss Givens, is still around the last time we got together and stuff. And she always said how she goes, Ruben, she goes, my goodness. She said, I wasn't surprised how well you did in the Marines. I said, what you mean? She said, you ate, slept, and shit in the Marine Corps when your junior, senior years. Like, you were destined to do that, And I mean, that's some serious passion for it. And granted, I mean, I caught hell while I was in there with shit that had nothing to do with performance, a lot of personal stuff with, whoever's in charge and some of the little dickheads I worked with or worked for, whatever, it's petty in my opinion. It's just interpersonal and personal shit you just got to deal with. Personnel issues, if you will, but who cares? But I mean, it's like the holding on and letting go. It's like, it's tough. I even want to go, and I can go on, but I don't want to go too far because I can do that. When I went to the VA and I talked with the psychotherapist, and I was saying how I noticed since I was 50 that the Marine Corps birthday, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, like I was getting weird meaning like so emotional I couldn't even understand what the hell was going on with me. She broke it down and she said, man, she goes, that's, it's normal in that when you were fully vested, not these that were just these punk ass pretend was like, no, it was to the core fiber of our being doing that stuff. And then she says, when you age, there's a part of you that you still connected to it because you can't let go of it, but you ain't who you used to be. But then at the same time, you're way more full grown, mature, and you see it from how dangerous it really was. Because when you're young, they say go, you walk right on in the shit. You couldn't care less. But then the further you away from it, you can look and go, ooh, how bad that could have gone. And there's this wrestling thing going on the inside, and so I mean I'm glad she helped me with that because. That was rough. But at the same time, psychologically, like I said, you got to go into a shitty situation. You got to discern it. You can't carry emotion. You got to set it on the shelf and fuck it. You die. Eat shit. That's part of your job. Still human, though. So that's one aspect, And I want to say just, honestly, aging gracefully or being an aging athlete. Man, when you've peaked, but you did it and I'm smart enough to know because I remember when I was doing stuff, it's like give that 110, 115% each day so I can leave it in the past. So I never say, well, I should have worked a little bit harder. Maybe if I'd done, oh no, there was nothing else I could do. That still doesn't mean that I don't miss it because I do. Then some parts of it I don't miss. I'm like, I don't want to do no million fucking kicks no more. I've done that. No, So there's a connection and the love and whatnot, and then there's, you let go. You have to let go. And the biggest thing is, it's like, okay, that whole is kind of a bit of a saying with the opportunity thing. When one door closes, another one opens. Well, you close a chapter, open up a new chapter. Or Oprah used to say it in the 80s. She said, many when they get middle age. And I was a teenager watching her show when she was talking, and she said, it's called, how the hell she say it? It said, reinvent yourself. And I took that as begin again. begin again, and you're at different levels and growth. So that's the same thing. It's a piece and a part of holding on and letting go. Because so if you start something new, well, whatever it is you start new, the base, you carry all these experiences you already had. It's not like you're going in ignorant. Well, you've done this. Okay, how can I use this, and then that? Maybe not that, a little bit more of this and less of that. So it's bits and pieces and parts, but it's still something moving on.
Most definitely. And you got to kind of have a bit of a patience and tolerance with yourself and obviously with that which you have to leave or move on from or turn the page. And I think that speaks to a lot of any Marine you ask. They don't ever say, I used to be in the Marine Corps, or a long time ago I used to do some Marine stuff. It's always, I'm a Marine, regardless if they're retired, regardless of their experience, good or bad. And I think that just speaks to, like you said, it's yes, you're apart from that. Yes, you're detached from that. But for some reason, it's so engraved in you, you're never not a Marine. You're always and will forever will be a Marine.
It's in you.
Thanks again for listening to the Y.O.D podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Extreme Power Gym. More than a punch, more than a kick, though. You will learn to be quite efficient at all of it. It's a mindset, a lifestyle, and for some, a life change. Muay Thai taught and learned the right way. A school where you can grow and get to know that powerful, confident self inside of you. Extreme Power Gym, 3375 Mission Avenue, Suite E. Oceanside, California, 92058. Call 760-672-8860 and speak with Ajan Rubin today. Visit online at www.extremepowergym.com. Extreme Power Gym, your Muay Thai journey, your life-changing journey, your better you starts here.
I did want to ask you guys if y'all are rolling with the dress, air quotes, the dress, what it means. Are you submitting to the theory that Hollywood does try to make prominent black men put this on? Like, how do we feel about that?
I believe it.
Because he brought it up a lot, and there was a narrative, there was an undertone all sprinkled through the shit.
He wasn't the only person to say that.
A lot of people say it over the years.
Do want to ask y'all about in 2 seconds. Do y'all submit to the theory or no?
Yes.
I'm asking the tough questions here today.
I do.
I mean, so many we not in that industry, but so many of them say it, and they say that they're kind of adamantly against it, and they kind of be trying to force it on them almost. You know what I'm saying? Like they try.
So
to
the theory is, just to be
you
clear,
wear a dress, you get ahead.
Yeah, but specifically for black men in Hollywood.
Yes, black men.
Okay.
They lend it to like they're trying to emasculate us on camera. Like
We have
there's
an
a
actress.
concerted effort.
We have an actress.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Live
You said
on
okay.
set.
Yeah, you said okay.
We
Like,
have an actress, a black actress right here. I want to toss it to her.
So the only reason why I offer like the tiniest bit of pushback on that is just because I've seen it throughout cinematic history with white men doing it too. Like the first movie that I thought of immediately was Some Like It Hot, 1959. It was Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis. And it's a movie with Marilyn Monroe. They witness the mafia hit. In order to, kind of like hide, they dress as women.
What, you got them tatted on you?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Got Jack
Bosom Buddies, Tom Hanks, really big comedy
Amazing.
that he's sitcom that he
Miss
starred in.
Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. There's so many examples of Tootsie.
but we not.
Oh, you being willfully oblivious.
Yeah.
No. I'm
You're being willfully oblivious. Is what you're doing.
That was an excerpt from the Joe Budden podcast, just talking about and reflecting on the Cat Williams interview with Shannon Sharp and how he was kind of pushing the issue of men wearing a dress in Hollywood and how that emasculates them and stuff like that. And the emasculation dilemma pretty much. But in your opinion, what does the emasculation of men entail and how does it impact the current generation's perception of masculinity?
Man, I think that's a mixed bag because so with the new everything is okay and whatever, the openness of things, that's the current I don't know paradigm, mindset, whatever. But then let's go back to the 90s, like in the military, the whole don't ask, don't tell. Like that was a big fucking thing with all the military heads and the president and the Secretary of State. Like they like, how in the fuck do we deal with this shit? And it's like, well, it's a private matter. It's not our fucking business. Okay, leave it alone. So that was that. But then before that, it's even more harsh and whatnot. You know, whatever the hell you do, keep the shit in the closet. Only reason I'm saying this because this is a whole backdrop and undercurrent in that during those times, and like she was saying back in the 50s and whatnot, you know, the two famous white actors, well, they dressed up like ladies as a disguise so they would get hit with the mafia. And I remember, I don't know if it was the one that sticks out to me was always Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie. It's just fucking funny. And then there's others. That never came across my mind. I'm just like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? And granted, like I said, that's during the time when it's like, hey man, you know, keep that shit to yourself. I don't want to know. You know what I mean? And then now it's you know, whatever. And so I watched, I don't know how many different of the excerpts of Cat, because I like Shannon and what the hell, what's his show called?
Club Shay Shay.
Shay Shay. That motherfucker. So I'm like, man, and Cat was just calling everything to the carpet. And I like the fact that when he do it, he'll give you, he's one of them like, I'm gonna give you time, dates, names, places and shit. You can kiss my ass. This happened. Fuck you. You know? And like he said so many times, I said, but nobody called me a liar. He said, they'll give me daggers and shit, but did you hear any of them say I lied? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Meaning that he's speaking from his personal experience, and it's like, I ain't doing that. You know, and I totally get it. So it would be, let's say if I'm in that situation, someone asked me to do it, I go, fuck yourself. I ain't doing it either. Mm-hmm. That's an individual thing. So it's like, hold up. It's okay for you to be right for your right. And I'm going to respect it. That's cool. But don't you dare give me shit when I have my same stance and it just happens to be different than yours. Mm. If I can fucking respect you, goddamn it, respect me. It don't mean I 100% agree with it. Clearly I don't, because I don't do that. But I respect the fact that that's what you want to goddamn do. Then carry on. I ain't going to hold it against you. But don't you dare give me shit because I ain't with it. Me personally, I ain't fucking doing it. Why? I don't see myself that way. Does that help? You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know, man. Like I said, it's a real mixed bag. But when you go back generations and then come forward, I mean, a whole bunch of fucking white dudes did that shit during, you know, it's like, don't even, you know? And so, you know, to say now and I mean, it's like, what I hate that it's like we don't know what we don't know. And you can only hear someone's opinion that have walked the road and what they've gone through and the things you see. But that don't necessarily mean that's what it is either. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's almost like it's one of them deals where I'll sum it up like this right here. I'm a man. My entire life has been that of a man. Race, we'll leave that out. Just say, you know, my gender, what have you. And I see life that way. It is what it is. I don't have opinions. I don't think I have a footage to have a solid opinion on in any way, shape, or form of what it's like to be a woman. It's not possible. I'm not one, so I can't speak for that. But for me to have a good idea would be for me to listen to many women speak. Like pick a subject. If there's 50 women and they from different cultures, different background, maybe around the same age, maybe around the same educational field, and a set question or a group of questions is asked, well, when they answer, there's going to be a general thing in common is going to show up. Well, I can learn from that. I go, okay, well, based on this is what I understand. That's as far as I can go with it. So I'm gonna argue with some shit that I ain't even live. I can't. So it's kind of like that right there. Like, this is so goddamn sensitive and shit. And it's like, yeah, but how you know? You know. And so, hell, I even saw God, was it last night? Jim Carrey, because there was a connection between what Kat been saying and Jim Carrey. Like, they both got blacklisted, but they're like, fuck you. They calling shit the way it's been. And then little by little, others are starting to see, like, you know what? They've been saying this shit. We need to pay attention to what's going on there, the whole Hollywood thing. So.
Yeah, that's deep. Yep, chaos. And I think I was going to ask you, like, do you think it is because like you said, both white actors and black actors do it. So as black
and
people.
And then make a bigger point. Overall, over a longer period of time, and we're talking during the time when it's like, don't you dare. You know, keep all that shit in the closet, per se, right? Nothing fucking said. Why? That's what I'm saying. I ain't in it. You know, I'm like, hey man, that's y'all fucking game. I'm a spectator here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, watching it and people acting and saying it's in the name of acting, it's in the name of the role.
Yeah.
This is what the role calls for. Like, are you able to separate those two things, or do we, as a black culture, not necessarily me and you, but black culture as a whole, do they constantly have the tendency to point to things that are still trying to get over on us, still trying to beat us down, still trying to hold us back? Like, do we constantly need something to point to? Like, no, look at that. That's what's gonna hold. No, you don't know. You don't realize that's what's gonna hold you back.
I get where you're coming from. It's like, it's really hard for us in general to not be oversensitive. Like, I guard myself with that shit too, in that I knew how I grew up and what I experienced. So when I see something, I'll stop and go, okay, let me make sure what I'm seeing is what's there and not necessarily some shit I'm perceiving. Don't say anything, just wait, just make sure, you know. And usually when I pick up on shit like that, because it ain't like something I consciously do, it's like a subconscious thing. There's a reason. There's a reason that happens. There's subtlety and shit. And if I dig, okay, yeah, okay, it's that. Whatever. I still carry on. Got nothing to say. But if it's like dire and serious, fuck off. I'm gonna speak up because you have to. But I've lived long enough to guard against stuff like that. Go, let me wait. Hold on. You know. And so I think it's kind of like any sentient being. I think if you beat an animal a certain way, maybe you remove it from that situation and something even looks like it's about to raise its hand at it, how's it going to react? No matter how well it's been reformed, if you will, it's kind of like, oh, shit. Because it's been beat down so many goddamn times. And it's what it knows, and not that it's something it want to, but it's what it's experienced. The fuck do you do? And it's like, hell, me and Naveen, he pointed out some badass pro Thai boxer out of Texas. I didn't even know the guy's name and shit, and he showed me the footage, and he's like doing well. Never hear about this man. Nobody talks about him. I'm like, damn. And he said, what do you think? I said, well, and I'm being vague, but we're on the same line here. I said, well, I hope the reason we ain't hearing about him ain't for the usual reason. And that's all I said. And he's like, yeah, word, you know. The fuck? And then there's a contrast. Then there was this other cat, different race. I can't remember where he's from. And they tout him saying, like, well, he's the best representative in the United States as far as pro and Muay Thai now. And I'm like, wait a minute. Because I looked at the two and I'm like, nuh-uh. You see?
Yeah.
So what the fuck you know what I mean? It's like, man, you ain't looking for shit, but you're like, well, make that shit make sense then.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's kind of like the big kid or big athlete syndrome. Like, a lot of times, the big kid that may not be an asshole or a bully,
yeah,
just by bumping somebody or something,
Yeah.
or may happen to always be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and something happens. It's like that person's like you're not looking for trouble, but for some reason, every time it's like, man, I'm not trying to do this, and you flip it on his head. It's you say a black person walks out his door every day, and to the white person, any other ethnicity that's looking at him, they're like, you're just looking for stuff. It's like, but from his eyes, he's like, I'm not looking for anything. I'm honestly trying to avoid it, trying to ignore it. I'm trying to find the good in things, but this shit just keeps popping up in my face. So yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
It is. It's so tough. I mean, I would kind of put it in the same category. Like I said, you know, if anybody, if you've been abused in any way, I don't give a shit if it's, you know, a woman that's been abused, a group of people been abused, and it's like, remember how I used to say, like, coming from where I'm from, it's like, and I fought it all to move on, and at the same time, it's like, unless I talk about what I've gone through, the majority of people that ever meet me got no clue I lived through any of that, because I don't carry it. But the residual's there, though. It's not like it didn't happen. It did happen. So it takes a lot of work to do that. So I can relate. I get it.
Indeed. All right, for those of you listening, this part of the show is where Ajan looks at a few videos and reacts. The videos will get better, funnier, sometimes a little serious, but he watches the video and reacts. This part of the show is called Ajan Reacts. So those listening, tune in to YouTube or www.thewildpodcast.com to view this segment of the show. Here we go.
One of the greatest movies of all time. I don't know why it didn't hit me until I was rewatching it, but the opening scene in Gladiator, Maximus is standing there. It's cold. You can see the steam coming off the ground. He looks at this branch. A bird lands on it, the wheat bending low under its own weight, to borrow a phrase from Marcus Aurelius in the Stoics. It's this beautiful scene, right? You think it's beautiful, and then it zooms out just a little bit, and you realize he's on the front. They're about to fight this terrible battle in this nasty, violent place. I love that idea. You think about movies as a metaphor here. You choose the lens. The zoomed in lens, it's beautiful. The zoomed out lens, it's not beautiful. But sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you're too zoomed in and you got to zoom way out and you see the beauty. It's all about the lens and the angle of the camera that we decide to look at the world.
And we have about 5 choices, you know, in our life. You know, we can be bad at what we do. I mean, we can be average at what we do. I mean, we can be good at what we do, which probably is God's expectation for whatever ability he gave us, or we can be excellent, or we can be elite. Right? And everybody has a choice as to what they want to do and how they want to do that. But if you're going to be excellent or elite, you got to do special things. You have to have special intensity. You have to have special focus. You have to have a special commitment and drive and passion to do things at a high level and a high standard all the time. And it doesn't matter what God-given ability that you have, that probably can make you good. But without the rest of it, I'm not sure you ever get excellent or elite.
And so many people go into situations and solve problems for $1 million universities, billion-dollar programs, just solving problems off food you don't even like. They had some carrots and cheese dip. I didn't even touch it. He said for some food you didn't like, you get him $200,000 worth of information for free. He said, respect your knowledge. And that's when I came to understand my experiences had value.
The first one, and try to succinctly remember it all, but perspective and how you see something, kind of like the semantics, tomato. You know, you put the thing there and set it on the table. Neither you and I ever seen this thing before, and I see it from this side, not knowing what the other side looks like, and you see it from that side, not knowing. But until we get up and go around, we don't see it. So, or if you're far away, what it looks like. If you close up to it, what it looks like. Like all these things is going to dictate, I don't know, like the perception of it, if you will. And then we mess around and make decisions based on that. So, no, he's right. You know, it's like Like, okay, like what we talked about, earlier, the whole thing. Like I said, maybe I see something, but I go, let me slow down. Let me make sure I actually saw what was there, not just some shit I thought was there. Just along that line. What the other guy was saying as far as the ability and the choice and, what you God-given talents and so forth, the intangible things of the utmost drive, focus, tenacity. Honestly, it's the shit I talk about all the damn time, to perform at a high level, and definitely, obviously Muay Thai. It takes that. You're a little bit different. I say it, I say you're a little bit weird to pull it off, but that's what it takes, though. Many got the ability, but they ain't got all the other intangible stuff. That extreme high degree of focus and determination and hunger. Like, the body can do it, yeah, but they got all this other stuff, and it will do it. And then granted, you can flip it. Some people got all the intangible. They weren't born with the body for it, so they'll always be like sea level. That's physically what they were born at. They maybe have an A mind and spirit, but it didn't balance out with the body. And you got those with the A body, and they got the C mind. So it's that kind of thing. That's what he was talking about. And then the last one here is a little bit confusing how he said it, but I get the bottom line. The value of yourself, just coming to realize that. And I think we all got to stop at some point and really look at that. Like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I worth? And based on what and who? Like, if we see our value low, why? Where'd that come from? And then when you start to see, no, hold on. I'm worth this because I know this and I can do this. But if you don't do it, most people are opportunists. Even if they do see it, they ain't gonna say shit because they want to use you. And that's some sad shit that I really come to pay close attention to. Remember I said the whole last few times where I not giving anybody benefit of the doubt anymore? Shit, it's along that line. That's kind of like what he was touching on too without saying it. Yeah. Value. It's true.
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned this quote before to you about experience, and is this dude named Da Truth. He calls himself The Truth. But he has a piece in one of his poems where he says, they say experience is the best teacher. I say experience is cool, yet experience is a teacher of fools. He said, a wise man learns from another man's earnings, then deciphers and determines what he shall choose. So it's like the value of someone else's experience rather than falling in all the pit holes and all that stuff on your own experience. So there's high value in what you know, your knowledge, and your experience.
Well, yeah. Dude, it's like being a teacher. So a good teacher has already gone down the road, whether it's experience, the academics, is a piece and part together. And you come in like you want it or not. Well, you should do this. But then you got some, they hard head, I'm going to do it that way. Okay, that's the fool. That's the fool. Because if you sensible, you want to not waste time. Person done already gone down that road, listen to them, especially if they're good. I mean, it could be a dickhead, so pick and choose who you listening to. But, you got a person that has a hell of a track record, shit. The motherfucker say jump, you say how high, sir? Shit.
Yes, sir. Got to know who you listening to. Know who you following.
That's right.
A moment in history, January 26, 2024. On January 26th, we commemorate a significant woman in Black history, the birth of Angela Davis, born on this day in 1944. Though a controversial figure, Angela Davis is a prominent scholar, activist, and advocate for social justice. Throughout her life, Angela Davis has been a powerful voice in the fight against racism, sexism, and various forms of oppression. She played a crucial role in the civil rights movement, advocating for the rights of African Americans and challenging the unjust practices of the criminal justice system. Angela Davis is known for her academic work and her involvement in the Black Panther Party. She has consistently fought for the rights of marginalized communities, highlighting the intersections of race, gender, and class in the struggle for liberation. Her fearless activism and commitment to justice have made Angela Davis an inspiration to countless individuals around the world. Her contributions have paved the way for future generations of activists, reminding us the importance of standing up against injustice and fighting for a more equitable society. As we celebrate Angela Davis's birthday on January 26th, we honor her remarkable legacy and continue to draw inspiration from her unwavering dedication to the pursuit of equality and liberation for all. A moment in history. Y.O.D Podcast.
Powerful.
Let's get back to the show. Your work is to discover your world and then with all your heart, give yourself to it. Once again, Buddha. How can we align our passions and purpose to make a meaningful contribution to the world?
That's what my mom had said, and we touched on this before too. Somewhere in the Bible, she was saying, or she was referencing the Bible, and it said we're all born with a purpose. We're all born on purpose, one and the same. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, you're supposed to figure that out. How you do that? And she goes, I don't know. Yeah, go within, I suppose, you know. Meaning we're all born with talents, and we are. And you got to go within and figure out what's your gift. What are you good at, and not just good at, maybe great at, and what's your passion? You know, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. I mean, think about it, man. How many people you know, if you ask them, say, hey, what do you love to do? And they'll give you an answer instantaneously. I love this, and can go on and on and on and on and on. Far and few people do that. I mean, I can't really think of too many except for those that are like maniacs in the field that I'm in. You know, we got that in common. Something drove us toward martial art to a point where we just saturated with it 24/7, and it brought something out of us, and we can radiate this vibration of energy and can guide and help others. But other than that, if I talk to my relatives, if I talk to even my sister, if I talk to just anybody in general, hell, even when I was in the Marines, I talked to guys, and they always thought I was crazy because I love what I was doing. You know, also, I love being a Marine, yeah, but I was obsessed with the martial arts. And I can't think of many I'd ask, I don't know what I love to do. And it's like that right there. Like you be productive as like kind of like fall in line as a soldier. But to be that one where, and that there's nothing wrong with that. That's productive too. That's like being a troop and everybody working, maintaining society and so on and so forth. You got to have that. But to do that extra piece with what you're saying, that's just a unique individual that found their deep gift and do it. Like they're compelled. They don't even choose. It just comes out of them. And that's what that refers to. And that's where these mavericks come from. It's like a circumstantial thing. Seriously.
Yeah, I think twofold. So I was going to get your opinion, kind of compare and contrast, because you got obviously those who know their gifts and you need to just give that to the world with all your heart, et cetera.
Yeah.
And then you got those that don't do the best with what they got.
Right.
Versus those who do the best with what they got. There's actually a Bible verse about that parable. You probably heard it before. Jesus tells the story of a master who goes on a journey and entrusts his servants with different amounts of money or talents before leaving. And then when he returns, he asks each of them to give an account of what they did. And the first two invested, multiplied. The third, consequently, he didn't use his talent. He buried it. He hid it in the ground out of fear, and and that he returned it to the master without any increase. And the master was disappointed and rebuked him and all that stuff, that you wicked, lazy servant. But the lesson and all of it was that God has given each person unique abilities or talents and expects them to use and multiply those talents for obviously to give him glory, etc. But your thoughts on that, just being a good steward of what you're given, whatever your talent may be. You know what I'm saying? And kind of like, because like you said, you have those who you ask them, hey, what do you love? And those same people that will maybe explain what they love are not doing anything close to what they explain. So just talk about that.
Most I haven't met that wasn't that. Like if they really did passionately love it, their fingers was in it all the time, like somehow. Then you got those, maybe they had kind of a cool affinity for it. Those are the ones that's like they could and just didn't. And they flirt with. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's still them. At least that's their integrity. They're being honest with themselves about it. There's not a whole lot you can do with that. That's a spiritual choice. Because there's always going to be leaders and followers anyway. And there's nothing wrong with that. Then you got those that we talked about this before, the overly ambitious ones that want to be in charge, got no business being in charge. They got no talent for it at all, but it's just a power-hungry thing. Then you got some that couldn't care less about it and got all the traits that are necessary. And depending on the situation, they end up inadvertently in that position, and then everybody benefits from it. But usually things have to be so bad, nature pushes that like a fucking pimple. Just pop.
Yeah.
And then good come, from that. And it's circumstantial, man. It just, I don't know. I don't know. I think it kind of flips back to some of the other stuff we talked about, just strengthening character. Like I don't even know. Like my group I started with, we're all in the same circumstances, and I'd look at it like ugly quicksand. Well, most went under. Most kept treading, and then a handful of us, fuck you, getting out of here. Where'd that come from? Where the fuck did that come from? Like it was just something on the inside, like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm doing this. And it's just this inner constitution, I'm going to get what I want or die trying to get there. But I'll be damned if I'm going to stay here. Not by choice. That kind of thing. So that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It's almost like you got to kind of find that balance between what you were gifted and then obviously the character within yourself to choose to pursue that, and then obviously the different choices you have to make within that pursuit. So it is a mix, like you often say, it's a huge mixed bag. It's crazy.
Yeah. It is, and it's like I think to pull it back to the Marines, like when it was at the pool and I was kicking ass and everything recruit training except that swim part. But and they get that that's where you come from. It's not your fault that you didn't have it, and you do the remedial thing, you're fine. But they say, because you got this, I think it's 14-foot platform, you teach how to abandon ship, you got to step off and go into, 14, 15 feet of water and whatnot. And if you don't do it, you fail, you recycle all this little stuff. And I'm like, shit, I already know I can't swim. I said, I will die right here. Meaning, where I came from was so bad, death there, if necessary, was better. Now add that shit up. So it's like, I try my best to explain how fucked up the stuff was that I experienced. So it's like, sometimes that stuff is so bad if it's, and again, depending on the person, because some people, I think they just submit to it. But if that's not your nature, that those blades constantly sticking you, shit, hell no. I'm gonna do this. I ain't never feeling that shit no more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Y.O.D podcast. Be sure to click follow, subscribe, and share at the Y.O.D Podcast. Visit online at www.theyodpodcast.com. Thanks for following. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, commenting, and sharing. We are Y.O.D.
It's a cap. Yeah. Y.O.D, Y.O.D, Y.O.D. I'm the young old dude with the new ology. Leader of the new school, old mentality.